My dog is looking at me and judging me hardcore. It's very embarrassing. Anyway, hello. I've gone to the grocery store. I am now back. And so let's go through what I got. I will give you all of the totals and whether or not we are in fact going to make our goal of meeting our $500 budget this week. So stick around until the end for that. I will be also linking all of the recipes that I mentioned earlier in the video in the description below. So if you want to cook along through the week, you are certainly welcome. I'd love to hear how it goes for you, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. And just generally I'm interested in what people are eating. Hey there, just want to jump in for a quick second with a caveat and context. I had recorded another clip where I was planning meals and getting ready to go to the grocery store, and so if there are a few lines that sound out of context, like you should have heard something before this video, yes, you're correct. I cut it out because the sound was bad and I looked rough and it wasn't a good time. Last week was not a good week, so I just scrapped that. Welcome if you are new here. My name is Catherine. I'm an herbalist by training and a naturopathic doctor by training. And for additional context, I have been trying to keep our food budget as close to $500 as we possibly can. The dietary concerns that we don't really have any dietary restrictions per se. There are a few things that I or my husband don't digest well, so we don't eat those. But otherwise, we are trying to keep our protein up, ideally above 100 grams for me, and I forget what his are, but we're eating with that in mind. And also, I'm trying to keep each serving to $3.50 or less for each of us per meal. And I am working on losing weight, and so that is the other piece here. I am planning meals with that in mind, and I think that's everything. Anyway, enjoy the video. Thanks for being here. Take care. Here's what we got for today. So one, I have been buying the Winco brand bubble water, and it loses bubbles really fast. And even my husband commented, he's like, I feel like I just opened this and it already doesn't have any bubbles left. So I splurged this week and got some LaCroix. I think the limoncello is a controversial flavor, but I really like it, so got some of that. So if the audio is weird, I'm sorry. I'll figure it out when I'm editing. I'm having issues. I'm having all kinds of issues lately, and my microphone is one of them. So apologies if it sounds weird or bad or that sort of thing. Refrigerated stuff. I only got one this week because we still had one left over. Maybe I'll move you closer. I'm still trying to figure out my setup. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying though. So one yogurt this week, since we still have one left over from last week. I did also get another cottage cheese. I'm exploring some different breakfast options because I'm really tired of smoothies. So I thought I got a big thing of cottage cheese. I'm going to try and make, I think, like a millet porridge situation. Some half and half for my husband. Also, I'm going to be making... I didn't talk about this earlier either, but I'm going to make some vanilla ice cream and homemade hot fudge sauce for dessert with, I got some fresh strawberries to put on that. So that'll be our dessert this evening. So I got a big half and half because instead of heavy cream, I'm just going to use some of this. I also got some egg beaters for the extra protein for that millet porridge thing I'm going to experiment with. I had been making an oatmeal, what was in it? It was like oatmeal, egg whites, and peanut butter and cinnamon and a couple other things. I forget. It was very good, and I'm trying to replicate that but without the oatmeal because I can't digest the oatmeal. Lemon juice, lime juice, and chocolate for the hot fudge sauce. My husband always makes this drink in the evening where he'll use regular water and he puts lime juice in there, and so all week we ran out midweek and he's like, Catherine, I said, do you need, this morning before I left, I was like, do you need anything on the grocery list? He's like, lime juice. And it was already on the list like twice. I delete duplicates. Anyway, got some millet for my millet porridge experiment. And then also some potato starch for the chicken that I am making tonight. That's a chicken carriage, which is like a Japanese fried chicken. As some more tiny onions, some more garlic. That's one bag done. And then we have coffee. I am out as of this morning. I had just enough, which is very nice. And then my husband requested a particular light roast. And my coffee is usually 2 scoops of, I do 2 scoops Italian roast and 1 scoop of decaf, and that makes me feel less of a caffeine addict. And some milk partially for ice cream. I think it goes in that. And then also, I had wanted to make pancakes. Got pancakes last week and we didn't have milk apparently. Oh no, we're out of, I should have gotten more of that. I didn't realize we're almost out. Let's fish sauce. But I needed it for pancakes last week. We didn't have any. And then I'm making ice cream this week. And I feel like there's something else I needed it for. But if you saw me last week, you know, like, I write things down and then I forget them. And then when I need it again, I'll figure out what it was for. Or, as the case may be, I'll remember right after I finish making the thing that I meant to use it in. I mean, that's harder with milk. It's pretty clear when you do milk and when you don't. I do get... Sorry, my refrigerator's fighting with me. I do get the A2 milk. It's supposed to make a difference. I don't know that it actually does for me, but it may just be sort of a psychosomatic, I feel better about it kind of thing. I haven't done a direct like one-to-one test with like your conventional milk and then your A2 milk. It has to do with the proteins in there, etc., etc. I'm sure someone else has done a much better explanation than I can or care to do, to be quite honest with you. Some Thai basil to go in our drunken noodles this week, and a big bag of frozen blueberries. I do like to get the wild blueberries, and Winco doesn't carry them, and I usually get them at Fred Meyer, and the last time I was there, I was looking for frozen tart cherries, which I couldn't find, and I was also looking for wild blueberries, and I couldn't find either one of them, so I just got the regular ones at Winco. Also, it's got my 1.5 pounds of ground turkey, and half of that will go in chili today, and half of that will go in the roasted spaghetti squash, the roasted garlic spaghetti squash on Wednesday or Thursday, I think it is, that I plan that for. Sweetened condensed milk for the ice cream. I have a Ninja Creamy, so basically what you do is you put all the ingredients in the tub and then you freeze it and then you pull it out, run it through the Ninja Creamy, and voila, ice cream. I also got some canned pink salmon for salmon cakes. I think that's for Wednesday night, because that'll be pretty quick to throw together with, and I think I'm going to cook some cabbage with it. And then I did also get some sweet vermouth because we were out. I enjoy a Negroni on Friday night, so that is part of that. A Negroni is, well, it's not technically, okay, so a Negroni is equal parts gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth. However, I also really enjoy bourbon, so sometimes I make it with bourbon instead of gin. That drink also has a name that I can never remember. That's what this is for. And then, is that another bag done? Yep, so bag 2 is emptied. And then bag 3, this is the veggie fruit bag today. Ugh. I'll bring it over. Maybe that should look inside here. I don't know, it looks pretty similar. Apples. No, these are bananas. Bananas. I also did get organic strawberries. I splurged on this. People ask me about organic versus non-organic produce, and generally the rule of thumb that I go by is that things that are on the Dirty Dozen, buy those things organic. If it's not on the Dirty Dozen, then non-organic is totally fine. And this depends on preference, budget, availability, all these kinds of things. I should look at the Dirty Dozen list, because I'm sure there are things that I'm not buying organic that I probably should be buying organic. And they updated, I think the Environmental Working Group puts this list out every year. And this is from 2025, so I imagine they just haven't updated it yet for 2026. So spinach, strawberries, kale, collard, and mustard greens. Our kale is from our garden. It is organic. The strawberries I got were organic. I do always buy organic greens. And then I don't typically get grapes, peaches, cherries, nectarines, pears. We don't buy pears. Rarely will we buy pears because we have multiple pear trees in our backyard, and they were here when we got the house, so we don't usually buy those. And my husband does organic spraying and pest control to care for those trees, so we're set there. I know that's not true for everyone, so, you know, do what you can. Apples I do usually try to buy organic. I think the ones I got last week weren't, because they didn't have the kind that my husband wanted in the organic section, so I got them non-organic. Blackberries, blueberries. Oh no, back on the Dirty Dozen with traces of several toxic pesticides. Why? Okay, anyway, blueberries and potatoes. Potatoes we also don't often buy because my husband grows them. We usually just eat out of what he has grown. I did buy potatoes last week. I don't know if I bought organic ones or not. So I will also link this in the description below if you want to take a look. So the idea of the Dirty Dozen is that these are foods that have the highest rates of pesticide use and the highest pesticide residue on them when they are, when they make it to market. So they will publish, they'll go through and test produce and then publish this list. And so those are the Dirty Dozen things. So I recommend prioritize organic for these 12 foods, everything else, whatever. If, generally speaking, if something has a skin that you don't eat, like avocado, for example, or mango, then it is less of an issue if it's organic or not, because you're not eating the skin, and what is sprayed on is, on the surface typically. So that is the rule that I have been told and that I go by. If there are updates that I'm unaware of, I'm sure, as last week, if you saw, I had to put updates in because I figured out right after I bought the Dave's Killer Bread last week, it was like, oh, the amount of glyphosate on there is a lot, even though it was organic. I've been meaning to look up that particular variety of Dave's Killer Bread, but anyway, there's that. What I'm trying to say, the point here, the takeaway point of all of my babbling is do the best you can with what you have. If you can't get everything organic, it's okay. You will survive. We have to make do in our modern world, and so it is not worth being overly stressed about. There are enough things happening. So if you are eating fruits and veggies, produce that is not organic, that is still hundreds of times better than getting takeout or going out to eat or eating really highly processed, super processed, ultra palatable foods. So you're winning. It's okay, truly. To that end, I did get a spaghetti squash, and I laughed at myself because I was so excited for that spaghetti squash recipe, and I didn't even put it on my list when I made my grocery list, and so I saw it and I was like, oh, I better grab one of those. Some sweet potatoes, 1, 2, 3. These will go in chickpea veggie bowls. I make a sweet potato, chop it up, roast it, and then they also will go in the salmon cake. The recipe from Nom Nom Paleo is 1.5 cups of cooked sweet potatoes, so I'll just roast one up and then that will go in there. 1, 2 green bell peppers. I wonder how much they were. And again, if you saw me last week, I was cranky about the price of the orange and yellow bell peppers. I thought they were too expensive. But this was, it's $1.52 for 2. What's that? A little over 75 cents each. I'll do the math and see if I did that right, because sometimes I can't think right in the moment. That was the most stressful. I was talking to somebody about that this week. That was the most stressful part of elementary school, was we had to do mental math, and it wasn't just you have to know your multiplication tables. It was do this really elaborate algebraic stuff, and it used to stress me out so much because I can't, I really struggle with mental math. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Got some lemons. Again, not really sure what these are for exactly. I think in part the salmon cakes, but also I'm sure they're for something else, or I would have gotten them. Sorry, I'm distracted. They're doing utility work on the trees. A few years ago, we had a really bad ice storm, and just trees came down, and there were houses that had their whole roofs taken out, and it was a whole big mess. And so since that happened, that was in 2023, January 2023, I want to say. So since then, every year they're very intentional about coming through and making sure they're trimming all the trees. I think that the county definitely got an earful, as they should have. There are lemons. I also mentioned last week I wish I had gotten some oranges. These were on sale. They're navel oranges. They are giant. Look at that. It's as big as my head. They're so big. So I only got 3 because I'm I can't eat apples this big. I certainly can't eat oranges this big, so I figure we'll just cut them in half, or just have slices in the fridge or something. I'm on a mission to learn to love eggplants. Eggplant and lentils. I don't like lentils. I made them recently and I was maybe I'll like them now, and I don't. So similarly, I made eggplant recently, and for the bowls that we're having, the veggie bowls we're having this week, I have a recipe that I saved on Pinterest. I'll link it down below for you if you want to take a look. It's miso glazed eggplant. So I thought, I'm gonna try it. It looks really good. I think the last time I made eggplant, it was a curry recipe, and I don't really like curry, and I don't really like eggplant. I don't know why I decided to make it. I just gotta try things that, give it a go again and see if my tastes have changed. They haven't, but I didn't cook the eggplant well enough, I think, last time. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it one more time before I write it off totally, and I will make sure it's cooked thoroughly. And also, like, the miso, it just looks really good, this miso glazed thing. So we'll check that out and see how it is. And then also a couple of jalapenos. One is for the drunken noodles on Sunday, and one is for, I think a little bit of this goes in the salmon cakes. There's something else. I think there's a sauce I was looking at making that also has jalapeno in it. So a little of this, a little of that. There's that bag emptied. And then we have one more bag. This is my basket. I have to repair it. It's falling apart. I'm so sad. One of my dear friends gave it to me. And I want it to stick around for a long time, but I've been using it. It's this really beautiful, like, handmade basket, and I used it too many times to move too many heavy things like books in and out of different offices and whatnot. So I got eggs. Last week I commented I didn't get 2 things of eggs because I was like, I'm overbuying and I don't want to overbuy. We ran out. I was really miffed about it. I should have bought them, but that's okay. We have them now, and obviously we didn't starve, so no worries. I did also have to replace coconut aminos. I ran out, and I need it for a lot of things. So got that, and I actually bought it at the wrong place, which I didn't know until I knew. I was at Trader Joe's because I had to get some tart cherry juice. Trader Joe's is the only place that I know around here that sells just the 100% red tart cherry. It's not from concentrate, as far as I can tell. There's no sugar in it. It's just like straight up the real deal. That's all that's in here. And we use it. My husband uses it for recovery, like athletic recovery. He does jiu-jitsu frequently, and then I'll be ramping up too because I know he's trying to do some competitions this year. So he really likes that for recovery and sleep and all that kind of good stuff. But Trader Joe's is the only place that has it. When I was at Trader Joe's today, I was looking to see if they had coconut aminos, and they do. And I thought, oh, but I usually go to the Asian food store and get it there because they have the bigger bottles over there that I like because I use it fairly frequently. And I was looking at the prices, and turns out it would have been cheaper to get 2 at Trader Joe's than to get the one big one at the Asian food store. So, oh well, now I know, and I will just, that saves me a stop, which is really nice. I also got some kumquats today at, I go to Wajimaya. We call it Ujimaya. I don't think that's right. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, so sorry. But there it is. And kumquats, I love these so much. And they had them. So I got some of those. And then also, my husband's gonna see this and laugh at me. I also got some shishito peppers. I love these things. I could eat them all day, every day. So naturally, because my husband's the best, and because I love them so much, and he enjoys them too, he grows them, and we have pepper plants overwintering right now in our garage. But in the summer, we get tired of them because we get so many. But I was thinking about our meals this week, and I was like, oh, that'd be really nice just to have some shishito peppers with our chicken tonight and that sort of thing. So I got some. The way that I cook them is very straightforward. It's very complicated and difficult. It's just oil, peppers, cook them, like blister them essentially, and then a little bit of thick grain salts, and so good. And there is my basket emptied, and that's that. So now the grand totals and the drum roll and what we actually ended up spending this month. So to this point, this month, we spent $370. That was my grand total last week. I didn't buy any groceries throughout the week, in fact. So that stands as of until today when I went to the store. Today, I spent $147 at 3 different stores, and I did buy some things that weren't strictly essential, namely the LaCroix I could have gone without, and the fixins to make the ice cream that I want to make could have gone without, and probably like the kumquats and the shishito peppers. Yeah, that's arguable. I mean, they're produce. I'm not upset to having bought them, but definitely not necessities necessarily in terms of just our meals in general, that kind of thing. So there's that. And so total this month, assuming I don't go grocery shopping next Friday, but does that really count? Because anyway, we can argue that. But to this point this month, I have spent a grand total of $517 for the month on food. I think because we had extra sausage this week that we didn't eat, the extra chicken we're gonna eat the extra chicken that I froze, we are probably gonna need to eat this week. We do also have like the frozen pre-made chicken breast that I have pre-cooked that is frozen as well. So we have those things. So will we need to go out to the store again before March? I don't know. I don't think so. We'll see. We'll see how this week goes. Hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully this next week is a little bit smoother than this last week was. And that is always a big help for me because I'm able to kind of keep track of things a little bit better. My brain has sort of not been doing what it needs to be doing this week because of the stress and honestly grief and those kinds of things that have come up. I really have been more focused on just trying to keep my feet on the ground and keep myself centered some kind of way emotionally, which I've been fairly successful at, and it's not easy, and life happens the way it happens. I feel like that person in the meme where just I think they're on that show Wipeout. They're on that show Wipeout, and there's like the big red things that just like keep coming. They're like trying to dodge them and they can't. They just like keep getting knocked down by these things. So that was the week I had. So hopefully next week will be smoother and that will make a big difference. How are you doing with your food budget? Do you have a goal food budget, or are you just kind of eating whatever? These trucks, man. Oh, I gotta go. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but they are doing a lot of tree work and I just maybe I just go listen to some comedy while I like take my run and do my chores and that sort of thing. What a time to be alive. How are you getting by? How are you doing? How's things? How are you eating? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please do go ahead and leave a like. If you would like more content like this, please do subscribe. This is great information for me, lets me know. And my washing machine is loud again. I gotta get out of here. All right, my friends, you take good care, and until next time, bye.